Recording button. Double tap to activate.
Hello, all my fiber artists, all my yarn lovers, all my crafty and creative people. I am recording this video for WIP Wednesday. That's right. So get your beverage, get your project. You know what that means. We're going to hang out together. And we're going to be crafting buddies today. I've already lost my crochet hook. So if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for choosing to come back, hang out, and spend a little bit of your day with me. And thank you so much for your patience while I briefly introduce myself to anybody who might be new to my channel. Hi, my name's May. I love yarn, I love to knit and crochet. Those are my hobbies. And I also happen to have been born visually impaired. So I knit and crochet by feel, and I've said it in many of my videos. I am blinded by light, and so that's oftentimes why you just see me sitting in my house in the evening working when it's kind of dark. And I know that for some people they don't totally understand, right, why I work in the dark, but it's because I was born with a condition where the cells in my eyes that see in the daytime are not connected to my brain at all, and so daylight is very, very painful for me, which is why I record indoors in the evening. But we are outside today if you are sighted. Of course, this channel is for everybody. I want it to be for visually impaired knitters and crafters and crocheters and people. I want it to be a space for everybody. But if you are sighted, you can tell we're not there because I've been saying it for a couple weeks. I'm going home to hang with the fam. That's right. So that's where we're at today. I'm at my parents' house. I'm hanging out in the backyard. I'm sitting on a blanket. We are going to whip it outside today. It's a beautiful day. It's going to be in the 90s here today, 95, so we won't be out here too long because that's pretty darn hot, right? I got a crochet project with me. I am wearing my sunglasses today. It's the only way that I can be outside with you. Light is super painful for me. It gives me migraines. It gives me headaches. I can't open my eyes. Even with sunglasses on, I can't open my eyes. Light is just too painful for me. So I am going to have to wear my sunglasses today. I hope that doesn't bother people or deter people from watching this video. I know some sighted people really feel like being able to see people's eyes is important, and I get that, and that's why I specifically make an effort to record in the evening most of the time, so I can look at the camera so you can see my eyes. But today, in order to hang out with you outside and whip it, we gotta have the shades on. So we got some crochet going on. This is a shawl designed by Crystal from Bag O' Day Crochet. It's one of her easy 2-row repeats. I think it's called Present Day Shawl. I'll do my very best to link it up for you in the description box. And of course, she worked it up in the Hobby Christmas glitter wheel of alpaca. So it's just a beautiful yarn. I am completely colorblind, but it is red, and then it's got gold glitter in it. My sister says it's transitioning to some dark green, to some green and white blend, to some white and brown blend, and then I'll show you the whole wheel. We're getting into the brown and white and gold, and then it's going to get more and more brown, dark brown, and then to the point where it's just light brown and gold in the center. So that's what we're doing today. So anyways, say hello in the comment section, right? As always, say hello in the comment section. Let me know where you're watching from and what we do when we hang out together on the YouTube. What's your WIP today? If you don't know what a WIP is, if you're new to the crafting community, WIP is W-I-P. It stands for work in progress. So it can be anything, right? It can be a craft, it can be knitting, it can be crochet, it can be sewing, it can be cross stitch. We're just here to hang out and be crafting buddies. So I hope you're enjoying. If you're sighted, I hope you're really enjoying the change of scenery. I really enjoy my parents' backyard. It's very pleasant. If you are well, I'm sure most people can hear there's lots of birds in the background, which of course, you know, I even love the birds at my place. I talk about it when I'm up early doing videos. So we got lots of birds here joining us today. So we like that. And if you're sighted, you can tell we've also got some fruit trees in the background. We've got my dad's apricot trees, peach trees, apple trees, and we've got his garden space back there. It is so, so pretty out here. It's just nature. It's just all nature, and it's just beautiful and wonderful. This is the house that I grew up in, so I know it well. I know the property well. I know the yard well. It's all pretty familiar territory for me as somebody who's visually impaired. So, but I love it out here. It's a treat to get to come back here in the summertime with the fam and just chill for a week. We just kind of hang out and do family time, right? So that's just nice for us. My mom and my dad they really enjoy it when their kids come home for a week just to hang out with them and just to spend time with them. So that's what we're doing. I'm trying not to do a lot of recording at their house, just to, just so that I can actually be in the moment with my family, enjoy them, and enjoy our little annual, this is just like, for the most part, it's like an annual visit. Right, so I get to see my parents because my parents live in Washington State. I see them at Thanksgiving, and sometimes I see them 1 or 2 other times a year. It just depends on, their health and ability to travel, and my health and ability to travel, and all those kinds of things. So, sometimes we see each other just a few times a year, sometimes more often. So I'm trying to make the most out of this week, especially because my sister came from the East Coast. So yeah, I'm trying to minimalize the recording and the camera.
Warning. Temperature too high to use camera. Wait for phone to cool down before using camera. Recording button. Double tap to activate.
Oh my goodness. We have to try this again. If you don't know yet, I use a screen reader on my phone. That's how visually impaired people access the internet. It talks and it reads stuff out loud to me. And it did indeed just say, it's too hot out. Yeah, your phone camera's going to shut down, and it did. It just shut itself down because it was too hot out here. So it's definitely hot out here today. It is 95 degrees out, but we'll try to whip it out here just a little bit longer. We didn't even get 7 minutes of recording in on that video before the phone said, it's too hot, it's too hot. And it is, but don't worry, I got water out here with me. I've lived out here, I grew up out here, I am used to the intense heat where my parents live. I know a lot of people, if you're not from Washington State, you might not know that there are, a lot of people think just like Seattle, right? And that it's rainy and it's cold and it's foggy, and that's true. All of Western Washington State is like that. It's dreary. Well, they have some nice times in the summer. They do. They get some nice weather in July and August. But over in Eastern Washington, where we live, it's not at all uncommon for us to have days in the 90s and triple digits. And so today it is 95 out. So it is pretty hot outside to be hanging out and crocheting in the sun. Very long. Clearly the technology doesn't want to play. So we'll see. We'll see how long, but let me know where you're from. Let me know where you're watching from. Let me know what your weather's like, right? Is it 95 where you're at? You got a heat advisory going on where you're at? We do. We have a severe weather alert, heat advisory in place. So we're drinking water. We're drinking our Gatorade. We got lots of ice cream in the house, right? That's like a must for our family when we get together. There's lots of ice cream happening. So we have lots of ice cream and sparkling water and Gatorade and all the beverages, all the things that we need to take care of ourselves in this heat. So we're used to it since we've lived here since before I was born. We're pretty well acclimated to it. Certainly you have to be careful. You have to be cautious, right? Yeah, my sister does a lot of sunscreen because she works an office job on the East Coast, so she doesn't get much exposure to sunlight given her busy work life. So she certainly gets her sunscreen going on. I tend to just, burn, and then it turns into a tan. I do live in Eastern Washington, so I get a lot of sun where I'm at too. But I really haven't been outside much this year, believe it or not. I've been inside crafting a lot. Now, can I craft outside? Yeah, I can. But the more that I have issues with my eyes, the more and more uncomfortable it gets for me to be outside in the sunlight. So, I still go out there, but I haven't really been just like sitting out in the sun this year like I've done in the past years and tanned or something. So, kind of doing less of that these days as I get older. So, I certainly have to be careful out here as well and not allow myself to get super exposed to the sun. But nonetheless, it feels really good to be out here. So let me know what you all are doing for your summer. Do you have kids? Are the kids out of school? Are you traveling? Are you going anywhere for your summer? Are you seeing family like me? Are you hanging out with the fam? Are you just staying home, trying to stay cool? You got big plans? You going do you live in the States? Are you going to beaches? Is that what you like to do for the summer? Or do you like to go to Europe? Stay close to home? Not everybody's into traveling. My parents don't do a lot of traveling, and I don't do a lot of traveling these days, just for health issues. But I used to do more traveling. I used to do a lot more traveling. But not these days. So I'm just hanging out here, and we're eating a lot of food. There will be a video on my channel showing off some of that. My dad's worked as a chef his whole life, so when we come home, he loves to treat us to his home cooking, the stuff that we grew up eating, our favorite meals. That's his favorite thing to do for us when we get home, is just to cook for us and make us dad's favorite cooking. So it's like a week of eating where we all gain a lot of weight. Where my dad gets to cook us a Thanksgiving meal, and he cooks a prime rib, and we're gonna have grilled steak and zucchini one night, and I'm gonna make my chicken cashew stir fry one night. So it's just like family time. It's just like chilling together, that's just kind of what we like to do as a family. So, but let me know what you guys do. So my mom's got some mobility issues that keep her from doing extensive travel from the house, and I sometimes have some health issues where just some stomach issues where it can sometimes be hard for me to travel, depending. Sometimes I do fine, like coming down here, I did fine in the car. But other times I get a little car sick and have difficulties traveling. So I don't always go places, but I have in the past. I certainly have been all up and down the West Coast, San Francisco, Victoria, Vancouver. Loved it. So, who knows? Maybe there will come a time soon in my life when I'll be able to do some of that again. But that time it's not now. So instead, I'm just going to enjoy a week of good family time, good food. Gonna enjoy my parents while I can. So we're just here to celebrate Dad's birthday, celebrate the 4th of July, and just be together. So let me know, do you visit your family still? If you're grown, do you still have family? Oh, we got an airplane going on. Hang on. Oh my goodness. Hang on. A big one. I don't have enough sight to tell you what it is or to recognize it, or I would. but we did see some. We live in an agricultural area. Eastern Washington, if you don't know, is a fairly it's a lot of agricultural land. There's a lot of wheat growing out here and a lot of potatoes growing out here. It's a lot of farmland, and so there's a lot of farms and agricultural stuff going on. So we're used to that because we grew up around it. But we definitely saw a crop duster when we were going down the highway. I wish I'd had my phone out. It's like I had my phone out, recorded little clips of the highway, and it was, it's pretty boring. It's like, freeway traffic and semi-traffic and stuff like that. So I put my phone away and I got my crochet out and was just like, I'm just gonna crochet in the car, right? And then a crop duster that came out to like fertilize the crops came, and it flew, it took off from, we were traveling straight ahead, and it took off from my right, like as if it was coming right at us, perpendicular, I guess. And then so apparently we're just not going to be able to record outside today. I'll be talking out there, working on my project, and then my phone will just shut off because it is really hot. So probably that my phone is going to overheat. Probably it's not good for me to be out there too long at 95 degrees anyways, right? So I guess we'll just be inside here crocheting for a little bit more. Anyway, let's talk about the little crop duster, the little plane that was going overhead. And it reminded me though, I'd been in one of those little Cessnas way back. I had a friend that I had since I was 14, and then he did that for a job for a while. He was a crop duster. He'd fly those little planes out and fertilize the fields and spray the fields and all that kind of thing. So by the time I was 19, I was in a relationship with somebody else and dated somebody else, but he and I were still friends. And so he called me up one day and was like, you want to go to lunch? And I'm like, sure. And he's like, well, we gotta fly there. So he took me out to lunch in a little town that's only like a 30-minute drive away, but we gotta fly in a little Cessna crop duster to get there to lunch. And I was 19, and I had my first guide dog by then, Genevieve, with me. And so those are tiny. If you haven't been in them, those are tiny, tiny little planes. And we had to cram. Genevieve was the smallest. I had 3 guide dogs. If you don't know that, on my channel, I do have a whole video that says meet my 3 guide dogs. And I share them with you. I had them during my high school, and my college, and my graduate school days. And Genevieve was the first guide dog that I had in high school and community college. And so I was in community college then, and so I had her, and she was the smallest of my guide dogs, which was a good thing because she barely fit in the back seat of that little Cessna with us. But she handled that like a pro. Like that was every day. She was not at all rattled. She was not unsettled at all flying in the back seat of that little plane. She was just like, whatever. She took it in stride. Like that was every day. Like just like, whatever my human's doing, I'm up for it. She just wanted to be with me. Genevieve was just like, I just want to be with my person, and whatever craziness she's up to, I'm just along for the ride. And really all 3 of my guide dogs were that way. I was really blessed in that way, and that all 3 of them, even though they had their quirks and they were like anxious, they could be very, very anxious at times. Genevieve was still like, she'd rather be with me than be left out. But still, she'd be anxious about what we were doing, but she'd roll with it. But she wasn't anxious during that flight at all. She just laid back there and was like, okay, whatever. So that is kind of a neat thing about living in this area, is I got to have that experience, right? I got to fly a plane. I got to fly that little tiny plane. Yeah, I did. Yeah, that was pretty cool. So maybe I'll talk more about that sometime. But anyways, that just reminded me of that when we saw that little plane, and I missed it on the car. But like I'm not super big into social media. I don't do Instagram or anything like that. But I'm just starting this YouTube thing, and I don't want to be that like super, like I could have had my phone on a lot in the car recording, just looking for like those moments, right? Things like that. But I just don't want to be that person. Like I don't want to be that person that's just constantly recording everything, looking for just the right moment. So am I gonna miss stuff? Yeah, I am. I'm gonna miss stuff. I'm not gonna be able to record everything. but I'd rather be in the moment with my sister, with my family, and just enjoy them than be the person who's like so, you know, absorbed with doing my social media that I can't just be present and enjoy the time with my family. So yeah, but you know, and my sister of course was describing it to me because that's what she's done her whole life. She's my big sister. I've been visually impaired since birth, and so that's kind of like been her job to, you know, tell me everything that's happening, tell me what's going on since we're little kids. If there are like horses outside the window, she'd be telling me, she'd be describing them to me, describing the colors, just, you know, anything that's interesting. My sister would, you know, she just, like, she knew that I'd want to hear about those things that I'd want to know. So that's always sort of been, she's had many responsibilities as my older sister, but you know, that's just one of those things that she was like, knows I like to know things. So I appreciate that. It's always nice to have somebody around who can tell me things. So anyways, yeah, that's kind of what I'm up to today, and just working on this pattern from Crystal. It does have like this shawl is like the initial 5 setup rows you got to get through, but they're not hard, they're not complicated, like I can follow them, right? And I just have to listen to the tutorial. So we know Crystal's really good at describing things. I could follow it, so it's not complicated. And then once you get past row 5, it's just row 6 and 7, 6 and 7, repeat, repeat, repeat. So I just listened to those a few times, and then once I was able to do that, you know, I just memorized them. They're not hard to memorize. They're not complicated rows at all. Yeah, so it is, when she says easy 2-row repeat, she means that. It's a good one for people who are new to crochet, and I don't crochet too often because on like live videos, because crochet is definitely, because I'm so new to crochet, it's harder for me to do it and like not have to count everything, right? Like this particular pattern has got 2 rows, and the first row, which is row 6 of the pattern, I can do it without having to count, because this row is like literally you know, chains and front post doubles, right? So like the first and last part of each row is 3 double crochet, chain 3 double crochet. Sorry, I thought I heard something outside. That's okay though. Anyways, but yeah, so it's not a hard pattern to do, and I can do this part of it. I just lost my yarn when I got up to see what was happening outside. I thought I heard somebody pulling up. Anyways, this isn't too hard for me to do while I'm conversating, right? Yeah. So it's the like the front post, and so though I can feel the stitch from the row below. When you're doing a front post, right, you like wrap around the post from the row below, and so that's really easy for me to do, to just go along and feel the post from each stitch from the row below and do that and not have to count. But then the next row, when you have to do the double crochets, I have to count and keep track of them. So that's not really a row that I'd want to be doing with you guys, right? You don't want to hear me count to 7 over and over and over. So yeah, so I don't crochet too often when we do WIP Wednesdays, but let me know for you, like, this is a good pattern though. At least this one row is a good one for me to do, because once I have it memorized, it's a great one for me to work on here while I'm just like visiting with my family, right? Because I wouldn't want to have the tutorial on over and over. I want to visit with my family and be with them and not be worrying about what I'm doing, right? Not have to have a YouTube tutorial on in the background. So it's one that I can just work on. Yeah, but let me know for you, are there some patterns you can work on while you socialize and visit and do things? And then other things, like, do you have to count all the time? Can you conversate? You know, yeah, like I have some of the more complicated knitting and crochet stuff. There's no way I could talk to my family or talk to y'all, basically, and work on it. I was like, nope, that requires more concentration. But yeah, I was looking for something that I could do, that I could work on and visit with my family. So I found it. So that's what we're up to today. My family is running. My mom and dad. My mom's got a medical appointment today, and my sister and my dad went with her. And I just felt it was going to be a better decision for me to stay home, sit that one out, and do a little recording, work on my projects. And then tonight we will do my dad's birthday, and we'll enjoy a lot more eating and family time, all that good stuff this week. So, alrighty, my friends. Well, I'm going to try to put, I'm sorry, this WIP Wednesday video is so choppy this week. We're going to have like 3 parts that I'm going to have to put together in the editing app. It's going to be a little bit choppy. I'm so sorry about that, but the weather and the conditions and the heat and the technology did not want to cooperate. So, I guess, yeah. I guess it is what it is. So, alrighty, my friends. Well, you know what I like to say in my videos, what I like to end with. Creativity is for everybody, right? Whether you see or you see like me, which is not so much, not in color, not in the day, or you don't see at all. Creativity is for you. And whether it's knitting or crocheting or sewing or quilting or beading or sculpting or painting or weaving or whatever it is that you do, today is a great day to craft and create. Thanks for listening. You want to see the project one more time? This is so pretty. Look at this. This is so pretty. This wheel of alpaca. Gorgeous, red, some green, some browns with gold in between. Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for listening. Until next time. Bye-bye for now.